Hi, my name is Madeleine van Roechoudt. We're here at Dornberg Orchards in Lake Country, BC. Here we have 45 acres in high-density apples and 10 acres in wine grapes. My grandfather had a horticultural background, and they'd heard of the Okanagan's hot, dry climate, ideal for tree fruit production. So they came straight here to the Okanagan, and they started growing tree fruits. My grandfather had experience with high-density fruit growing systems in Europe, and he experimented with different dwarf plantings here and was one of the first orchardists to prove the commercial viability of high-density plantings in BC. I always felt that the Okanagan was my anchor, and being back here was always my base. So after being away for a number of years, I just had the desire to move back to the Okanagan, and so that decision process was kind of circuitous in that if I was going to be back in the Okanagan, I should be living on the farm, and if I was going to be living on the farm, I might as well be working on the farm. My father gave me some special projects, as he called them, so we put in new chemical storage, new fuel storage systems on the farm to upgrade with environmental standards. I say that I apprenticed under the orchard manager, so I learned more of the horticultural and mechanical sides of the business at that time. Well, the wonderful bits, I think, are the location and the view. We're just in a really stunning area. The challenging bits, I think, is really getting high quality and consistent volume year over year. The varieties we're growing nearly 5 acres of Sunrise, which is a local early apple here, developed at the Summerland Research Station. Then we have approximately 20 acres in Royal Gala and 20 acres in Ambrosia. And we've had those 20 acres of Ambrosia for a decade or more. So at one time we were the largest Ambrosia grower in the valley. Well, then we have 10 acres of wine grapes. We were looking to diversify both workload and cash flow. So having some income from a different source was something we thought was appealing and a good financial decision. One reason we decided to go with wine grapes was that it was on our steepest slope. So not using ladders, as a vineyard doesn't require ladders, was appealing for us. We also had older varieties there. I believe there were some Max and Red Delicious on that land. It was also considered quote-unquote B land. It didn't have original water rights, so the soil wasn't as good as some other locations. So grapes don't need as good of soil as tree fruits, so it kind of worked out on a couple different fronts. I think the best advice is to look at your industry and look at the competitive forces within your industry. And if you can find a competitive advantage and have a successful business using that competitive advantage, then it's certainly worth pursuing. But farming is hard work. It's got long hours. There aren't holidays the same way as other jobs, so you need to be looking at it with open eyes before you come back. Well, as I mentioned, my family has a rich history here in the Okanagan and is always being well known for being innovators in the sector. So it's an honor to follow in those footsteps, but there's also some pressure I put on myself for where do I go from here. You know, I haven't put in any of these new plantings. They were all plantings my father put in. So, you know, where do I go from here? And that has been something looming for a number of years, which I still need to move that somewhere.